DJ an outdoor event. I'm DJ Spiegelspin, and in this video, we're going to talk about it. This channel, I teach you guys the skills and techniques so that you could go out and take those skills and do gigs and turn those skills into a paycheck. So if that's something you're interested in, subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. But today we're talking about outdoor gigs. Now, having the ability and the skills to do outdoor gigs and also the equipment will open up a lot more opportunities for you as a DJ. So there's a couple of differences when it comes to doing outdoor gigs opposed to indoor gigs, like indoor gigs at a restaurant, at a bar, weddings and stuff like that. There's a couple things that we might want to think about if we're preparing to do an outdoor gig. First, let's talk about equipment. So assuming that this is a mobile DJ gig where that you are responsible for all the speakers, the DJ booth, and everything involved in the DJ performance, then you're going to want to use some slightly different equipment and some major different equipment. So one thing that you want to keep in mind is, are you going to have power or are you not going to have power? So some of these events, there'll be an outlet, you could run an extension cord or maybe even a generator or something like that. But what if there's nowhere to plug in your equipment? Well, there is some good news. Samson makes some really great 200-watt DJ speaker PA speakers that have batteries that last over 24 hours. Now, this has come in handy for me time and time again. We would do rooftop parties, we would do raves in the middle of the woods, and I was the hero because I had the speakers that could last the whole night and sound great. So when you're looking to buy new speakers, keep in mind that you might want to do outdoor gigs and see all the new speakers basically have Bluetooth, and a lot of the new ones now have built-in batteries so that you can be prepared if there is nowhere to plug in your stuff. And then also, if you're DJing with the iPad, make sure that your iPad is fully charged before the gig. The iPad has a much larger battery than, let's say, a cell phone. So if your iPad is on full battery, it could last 2 or 3 hours, but also be prepared. Have your phone ready so you could switch from DJing on your iPad, and maybe the end of the night your iPad dies, you could switch right over to your phone. Or you guys could do, this is one thing that I did, was get a whole bunch of those battery power banks. So like the ones that a woman would keep in her pocketbook or something to charge their phone. They make really high quality ones that when your iPad starts to die, you could plug in your iPad to that. You might have to unplug your controller, but with DJ Pro and the iPad, we could DJ a great performance with just the iPad. So maybe towards the end of the day or night, whenever the party is, you might have to plug in your iPad to charge and then unplug your controller. You could still leave the controller out on the table so it looks like you're using a controller, but then just do nice smooth mixes with just the iPad and not the controller. So I definitely recommend when you're practicing DJing, not only to practice with the controller, but also practice and get really good if it comes down to it where you just have to DJ from the iPad. Another thing to keep in mind is the sound. So the speakers that you bring. Now, a good rule of thumb, which I learned from the YouTube channel Digital DJ Tips, and then they also have a book called Rock the Dance Floor, and they said as a general assumption that you should have at least 5 watts per person. So if you're bringing a 10-watt speaker, then you will have enough speaker power for 2 people, and so on. But when it comes to outdoors, you're going to need a lot more than that because the sound, there's nowhere for the sound to bounce off. The sound dissipates and you're outdoors, and there also might be static. There might be noise. There might be cars passing by honking the horns. There might be an airplane passing by. You might be by the beach and there's waves. So make sure that you have enough, that your speakers will get loud enough for people to dance and for it to fill the area with sound. Because as a DJ, if your speakers aren't loud enough and you don't have enough bass, then nobody's really going to want to dance because they can barely hear the music. So make sure that you understand if they say you're doing a DJ party for 50 people, if it's indoors, you might be able to get away with a smaller sound system, but outdoors, that the same amount of people, you're going to want to make sure you have more than enough power so you could really drop the beats down, and then people will dance and enjoy it. Now, another thing is you might want to not bring your most expensive gear. So as you DJ and you start upgrading your gear, getting more gear, save your old controllers, because like the Numark DJ2Go Touch up there, if it rains or it gets wet or it gets sand in it, it's not a big deal to replace a $89 controller. But if you bring out $10,000 CDJs and a mixer and all this stuff, then you might be pretty upset if something happens to your equipment. The iPad, I use the iPad Pro, and it's water resistant. It's not completely waterproof, but if it rains, if it drizzles, it will be protected. I also recommend every time you DJ out and you do DJ performances in the public to always use a high quality case, because iPads are obviously expensive, and if it breaks, your set's done. So don't ever go out with a naked iPad and then try to DJ like that. Even though some of the new controllers, like the Reloop Buddy and these controllers that have these really cool built-in iPad stands, but your iPad won't fit in it with a bulky case like this, so I don't know why they did that. But don't go think, oh, I'm going to use the stand that's built in and I don't need a case. I would definitely recommend having a good case for your iPad, especially during these outdoor gigs. And also, it would be a good idea to make a specific playlist for outdoor gigs. So if you're booked to do a party next Saturday, obviously make a specific playlist for that gig, but also have your backup, just like I say in all my other videos about the playlist, have your go-tos. So if we go over here, my collection, I could go by the decades, the 90s, 2000s. I got sound effects, which are good, and then instruments, and then also outdoor. I'm still working on this, so I don't have that many songs in it, but put songs that will represent the outdoors. People really appreciate if things are going on in the environment. People appreciate that you're paying attention and you're seeing what's going on. So let's say you're DJing and it starts drizzling, it starts raining. Then you can have songs ready for the rain, like this one by Imagine Dragons, Thunder. So you hear some thunder in the distance and people think it's going to rain. You could really lighten the mood by playing a song about rain. And trust me, people really appreciate this, and they'll know that you're paying attention and you actually care about the gig. So make sure that you guys are prepared. Every gig is different. Every location is different. So do your research and be prepared for your next gig, especially if it's an outdoor gig, because it could be more challenging. And one other thing I want to add is make sure the device you're using will be bright enough to see in the bright sunshine. So some iPads, different model iPads, or if you use a laptop, or if you're using another device to DJ, just go outside on a sunny day and make sure you'll be able to see what you're doing. There's nothing more stressful than trying to DJ without seeing the songs and seeing what's going on. So keep that in mind. And if you guys like learning about DJing with the iPad, DJ Pro, how to get gigs, how to make more money with DJing, subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. Thank you.